All right. Yeah, I'll let you know. Not long. What's up, people? Hotep Jesus. We are back. Another wonderful, uncomfortable conversation. We got a wonderful guest today. Wonderful, wonderful guest today. A lot of you been anticipating this one, and I'm very happy to have him here today with me. But before we get into that, I just want to pay the bills. Let me pay the bills real quick. We've been social distancing. The commies have demanded that we social distance, especially in commercial areas. So the artificial intelligence company I'm working with, Wazo, link is in the description. Go subscribe. We we're inside of a grocery store, and in this grocery store, we're doing people counting to make sure that these people, this business, does not breach an occupancy that does not allow 6 feet distance between people. So a lot of great announcements coming. Next week we'll be making some announcements. So that's going to be fun. So I want you guys to just take a look at that. WiseOSecurity.com. What else? What else? What we got? Oh yeah, every Saturday. Every Saturday we got the summit, virtual small business summit, and that's something I do every Saturday for 2 hours with founders, small business entrepreneurs, startups. Basically, answer the questions. I fill questions and answer them live on the spot every single Saturday for 2 hours. Really fun group. Virtual Small Business Summit, briansharp.co/summit. Brian with the Y, Sharp with an E. But it's a really great group of guys. Shout out to Chad. I know he's involved in that. Brody. We have a great group of people in there. Some people are young and new, and then you got, your rock star guy who is like at the pinnacle of his career, ready to transition into some hobbies because he's just so well accomplished, So a really good group of people with all different levels of experience, all different backgrounds. We got e-com guys, bloggers, media, really, really great group of people in there. We got a lady in there. She's heavy in the comic world, so it's a great place to network. But if you have questions, you want to grow your business, you want to grow your social media channels, whatever it is in your entrepreneurial life, if you want to become, recession proof, as they would say, AI proof, something you want to be involved in. It's definitely something you want to be involved in. briansharp.co/summit. That's Brian with the Y, Sharp with an E. Who's in the chat? Let me see who's in the chat. All right. Shout out to the homies in the chat. Trisha, what's up? Brody, what up? Chad, what up? Appreciate y'all coming through. We got a great show tonight. This brother over here, I was trolling him on his Instagram a couple of weeks ago. He dropped a rap. I said, how come every time white people rap, they rap fast? And his audience started attacking me. How dare you come at An0maly? This is my hero. I was like, yo, chill, that's my homie. I'm just trolling. You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, I got my homie An0maly here. Y'all already know. What's up, homie? How you feeling, bro?
I'm good. That was funny. I saw the comment and I saw people bugging, but it was the fast part of a song. Like, and I know what you're talking about though, because there are the type of people who just lyrical, spiritual, serial, mirror, and they're just screaming, but they're not saying anything. And they like, so I thought it was funny, but I was like, it's only the fast part of the song. It was a build up, but
Yeah.
I got my people. I told them, I said, go at him, go at him, go at the throat. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, they was loyal as hell. They said, who do you think you are? One person was like, yo, I thought you and An0maly was cool. I like, well, y'all, I'm just
Yeah,
fucking with it.
I snitched on you to the mainstream media too. I said, "Go after him, man. He's too far right." No, I'm just I'm just playing.
You got them connections too. I got
No,
my eye on you.
I'm just playing. I didn't do that.
You got them connections though. I seen you was out in Hawaii on your Kanye vibe. What's up with the Hawaii thing?
A couple of years ago, it's actually a long story, but I don't know if you know Prince EA. He does like spoken word videos. I emailed some guy for him just because when his stuff was going off, and I connected with this guy who runs like some nature sort of environmental stuff online. Long story short, it was like 4 years ago. They were like, come out to Hawaii for a week and like network and do, we can make videos and stuff. So I went out there, made friends, and he's got a spot out there. So I just go out there every year. We connect, we do business, and just it's a great place. The Big Island is phenomenal. Now Roseanne lives there as well, so I connect with her while I'm out there, and just you know, it's a good.
See, you big league. You hanging out with one of the legends, one of the TV legends, Roseanne Barr. What was that like?
It's fun. She's just as
Was y'all
cool.
smoking weed?
Yeah, I'll say this because I've been cutting back. I don't really smoke weed at all. I used to a lot when I was younger, but I really don't. With her though, she had a bong, she had everything, like a joint, a bong, and one of those dab things. I haven't been that high in the last year or so. So I wasn't gonna say no. So that happened, and I brought my friend too, and he was so excited to meet her, and he was super so high he left some stuff there, so we had to go back, but it was fun. She's so authentic and raw, and I think she got a raw deal. It's like she came up on just being so different and so unfiltered, and then 2019 hit, and then all of a sudden it's a bad thing, but she has no off button. She's one of them people where like it's not even like people are like, don't do that, she's not even thinking that way. She's just but she's super smart and she's honest. So I think she got a raw deal, and it's disappointing. Just it's fun hanging out with her, but it's disappointing knowing that how they treated her. But I think the karma is now everybody shut inside. The wrath of Roseanne
Yeah.
came out, and now
What
nobody gets to
happened
go
with
to the
her?
studio.
They can't did her show come back and they canceled it, right?
Yeah, because she made a tweet or something, so they kicked her off it, and then they just brought it back without her. I mean, it was called Roseanne. They brought it back and called it The Conners, and it was whack.
And it failed.
I think some people watched it, but yeah, not as good. Her show when it came back when she was on it, it was the biggest show in like 5-10 years, highest ratings. She was coming out trumping on them in the interviews, and I guess she was. Some people go too hard in the paint on Twitter. I know how it is. Late night 1 a.m. That's when I'm ready to. That's when I'm ready to strike. But I really should just turn off the phone. So they
Uh,
got her.
damn. Yo, shout out to Roseanne. I came up on that show, man. We was younger. Roseanne was a staple in the crib. It was just one of those, growing up in the 80s. I think her show was popular maybe late 80s, early 90s, I want to say. Um, but yeah, that cheers. But yeah, Roseanne, man, I would, man, I'd have had fun too, man. Smoking with Roseanne, I could just tell, like, she always been on some chill shit. But she's so raw. You find that with intelligent people. Intelligent people tend to be really raw like that.
Definitely, yeah. And she's I mean, she's super smart too. Like people always act like she's dumb, because she's all over the place and she's loose. But I think she's like super high IQ, super deep down. Like she's 7 layers down, so she's talking. People don't even know what she's talking about. But I always understood her. I saw an RT interview where she was talking about Hollywood and all this deep stuff, and I was like, that was the first moment I realized. Yeah, I knew who she was, but I was like, she actually knows what time it is, like on a deeper level. And she ended up reaching out to me through like a YouTube video. She's tapped into YouTube. She'll be sending me videos sometimes that have like 400 views. And I'm like, I wonder if they know that Roseanne watches this video. Like nobody else watching it, but she's on it. Like 100 views, 200 views. She loves like some deep stuff.
Uh, damn, huh? She be looking, lurking, huh?
Yeah, she's on it.
Something I was thinking about was, I wonder how many celebrities have like burner accounts where like, they get to interact with the world. People just think that they're normal.
Probably a lot, and probably a lot of people in industries and stuff. Because if you're like me or you, I guess at this point, like we just say whatever we want. But if you work for 95% of the corporations in this country, whether it's music, entertainment, and you want to trump out or do something that's against the grain, you got to have the cat picture. Maybe you got the like the Trump, the Trump train, like I don't know, avatar or a QAnon avatar or something, and then you just go ham on them with the anonymous account.
Yeah, yeah. It's grifting season. You know what I'm saying? And would you consider yourself a grifter?
No, I don't think so. I I don't
Do
I
you
don't
think do you think people like us are grifting sometimes?
I guess I'd have to look up to be accurate the definition of grifting, but I would say I don't compromise my values. I don't think I jump on stuff where like everybody's saying, like Hispanic unemployment's down, black unemployment's down, here's my PayPal. Like I always try to come with some real authentic, journalism or some sort of report and different type of stuff. So if it goes against the grain, I never really care. I don't think I'm a grifter, but I guess I'm sure everyone has their.
How would you let me see. I'm gonna look in.
Yeah, look.
All right, so it says swindle,
Yeah.
right? Like
So I
that's a word that they used on one site to obtain money or property illicitly, as in a confidence game.
Yeah, I think the way I think about it with politics and stuff is people maybe who are deceptive or who don't believe in what they say. But I think the term got looser because anybody that's just out here grifting per se, people throw it around loosely. I've always thought about it as somebody who just makes money doing things they know aren't right, and I think that's what even people on both parties do. Where they'll be saying stuff, and I'll be questioning like I feel like that's kind of anti-free speech, or like Republicans passed that bill, and I don't really agree with that, and they know that it's not right, but that they don't want to say it because maybe like they'll get disinvited to the event or something. To me, that's grifting. I never do that, so I don't compromise myself. I don't lie or deceive just to be cool. So I don't think I'm a grifter, but
Hmm.
to each their own.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems like, I guess I can agree, because I kind of look at grifting as, oh, people. All right, put it like this. Let me just be frank. It, it's more about what you don't say than what you do say. Building your brand is more about what you don't say than what you do say. Because there's a lot of things. There's another thing that says, think as you may, but act like others is another mantra as well. Because we're in this PC world. So I feel like, when you have people that are also unqualified, like what qualifies you to have an opinion on these topics? You know what I mean? These people are like 19, they throw on a MAGA hat, they create a TikTok, and it's just like boom, like now they're speaking at a college.
Yeah, I try to not be too, like it's all love for me. Everybody's got their own zone and things they're passionate about, but I really don't like the hypocrisy and a lot of, what really bothered me in the last like 6 months. We'll even go back to you because that probably might have, messed up some of my connections off the authenticity when you got disinvited from the White House. I stood up for you because I thought you were one of the more unique, intelligent people there that's a free thinker. And then when they didn't invite you and they said you were anti-Semitic, I knew right off the jump that's not right. That's my guy, and you're gonna let everyone else go and not him. So I spoke out. That probably messed up some of my bigger connections because they're like, "Why are you talking about this?" Yo, shut up. I'm like, "Listen, I don't got. That's just how I feel." And I've always liked what you did and what you were saying. I thought it was interesting. So, I think that type of stuff is that's what bothers me is when people say I'm pro free speech. These are my values I believe in. And then I'm like, those are my values I believe in. And then they go off the deep end on it and they don't really believe those values. That's what ticks me off because it's like every talking point they have, you once you see that they don't really believe in it, it's like, what's the point of saying you believe in free speech and you're against censorship, but you'll censor your own off an exaggeration just to make yourself look better when they'll never treat you good anyway. So, as far back as that was one of the first things that made me realize. And then all the free speech, campus war stuff going on really, I think, exposed a lot of people and how weak their, arguments are. So that's
shout,
where I'm
to, shout to Sketch Therapy. Appreciate you, homie. He said, I appreciate your content. Get knowledge, catharsis, and laughter equals serotonin. Absolutely. Here's a small token of my appreciation for services rendered. Shout out to Uncle Hotep. Thank you, Sketch. I appreciate you. Mary O'Donnell Marty. Yeah, what's up, girl? She said, hey, HJ and Anomaly. Haven't been able to watch much live lately, but Hotep Jesus brings us the best interviews and info along with Hotep's been told you and Uncle Hotep. So I have to support. Hey,
at.
the wall in the chat. What up, Mary? If you ain't got no white women on your team, get you some white women on your team. I'm gonna get canceled for that comment. Now, I tried to grift my way into TPUSA. You know, actually, I didn't even try. It landed in my lap. It's handed to me in a platter. Brandon Tatum called me. He said, "Hey, Hotep Jesus, we're requesting your presence." And at first, I was like, "Oh, they trying to kill me. What the fuck is this setup?" So I did my research, and I'm like, "Oh, this might be legit. Hold up, let me call dude back." So I called him back. He's like, "Hey, can we fly you out to Arizona? All expenses paid." I said, "Where I'm gonna stay at?" He told me the hotel. I looked at that shit. That shit was 5 star. I said, "I'll be right there." Just say I had my meeting. When I left, they sent me a check. I said, "Okay, this the grift life, huh?" You said. So, at that point in time, it was very much about what you don't say and what you do say. You know what I mean? So once I got kicked out, it was like, oh, I can say this shit now. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked you. I said, do you consider yourself a grifter? Because I feel like there's a little grift in all of us. Like if you have a YouTube channel, you're monetizing current events. We're all at some level grifting off of the political comments, for income. But I agree with you. I think it comes back to the ethics of it all. Some people are just come and tell you lies, feed you bullshit. At least, when we grift off the topic, we giving you something nourishing, something that's going to better your life and keep the cycle of life going, you know. But I appreciate you coming to my defense when they kicked me out, Teep USA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that shit was coming though. I knew it was coming the moment I left Arizona. I went to Arizona on a Friday. I came back on a Sunday. Sunday, as soon as I got to the airport, I called the homies. I'm like, yo, go sign up for TPUSA, yo. I'm gonna get kicked out this shit ASAP. Saying like I knew it was coming, just because I didn't fit. Like I saw all those black conservatives in there in that room. But so um yeah, so we're in the midst of all this grift and stuff. How do you feel about that? Do you call them out, or do you kind of just like let them do their thing? Do you work with them? What do you do?
Uh, I I have a big enough platform at this point, and in general, I think that's always been my attitude, even at business. Like, I'd have a decent job, and if I felt like they were playing me, I'd save up enough money that I wasn't homeless, and then I'd be like, "I'm out," and they'd be like, "But don't you want the money?" Like, I always was like, "Nah, you guys suck. I'm out." They're like, "You 2 weeks?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm done right now." Like, I always had an attitude like that. I just can't fake the funk. But when it comes to this type of stuff, I don't care if they're unimpressive to me or they're lame. I'll let them do that. But once they start being hypocrites with the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, red flag laws, anti-Semitism speech laws, I'm like, all right, you guys got to calm down. That's the only time I don't like it. And when they're promoting free thinking stuff, and in my perspective, there's a lot of great people that I'm friends with that were in that bunch, but I'm tapped into everybody. And I was like, if they're kicking Hotep Jesus out, and I see why they're doing it, because they don't really want people to go into the free thought. They want people to stay confined. And to me, that's offensive to not only black conservatives, but in general, like to the conservative movement. So that's the only time I really speak out. If people are being lame, that's whatever. And what you're talking about with the self censorship for social media, I think about it where it's like I won't compromise what I really want to say, and I won't compromise my morals. But there is a type of self censorship. I think even in like there's silence is golden sometimes. So it's like how much do you want to say? How do you want to say it? How is it effective? And also it's like it's not wise in general in life anywhere to just to be yapping all the time. So I try to figure out that balance between not overly censoring myself, but not being dumb enough to get kicked off. Because I think there's definitely certain aspects that have made me be even tighter with my research. And when I go at Facebook, I feel like they're always trying to come for me. That's where I have a huge platform. But I'm like airtight with it now, where I'm like, if you try to get that, I already got that. So I try to put all of it out there and make it like unbannable.
Yeah, here's my thing. I used to be a blogger. I had a blog, very very famous blog, an entertainment blog, world back in the day, and I caught myself the day Michael Jackson died. It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but I was happy because I was one of the first two blogs to break the story. It meant income for me, but we lost MJ. And then, it was like a weird moment for me because I was like, my partner hit me, Vonnie. He hit me. Y'all know Vonnie, Media Mogul. He hit me. He said, "Yo, you think we should publish this MJ is dead story?" I'm like, "Yo, publish that shit. That nigga gone, yo." He like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, he gone." So we published it before he was even pronounced dead because I wanted that. You know what I mean? Like that's how sick in the head it was. So here we are. Fast forward, it's like tragedies can be monetized. Like consumption of media since quarantine has gone way up. So without these problems, YouTubers like yourself wouldn't make the same income
Mm.
without these huge problems.
Yeah, it's true. Even with the COVID stuff, my numbers were always big, and I was doing well on a trajectory. But because you're forcing 100% of people to be home, numbers are skyrocketing, and also everybody's trying to wonder, can I curse? You don't care?
Go ahead.
Okay. Like what why the fuck am I home? Like before it's like basketball players don't care about my shit, actors don't care about my shit. Some do, but most don't. But now they can't play basketball or act, so they're trying to figure out why. So the looking to content of people who are like the crazy ones now all of a sudden look smart. So it's been a great 2 months for me, but I wouldn't wish it on the world. I would have been fine anyway. But that is true. Like you said, if you break a story, so that plays into a lot of media. It's very hyper sensational and they know they're doing it. That's what I learned by being behind the scenes and this stuff. I used to just think people were stupid or unwise, but that's what really started to take me off too. Is I know the people who are really doing the deception on the biggest level, they know they're doing it. They just want to make money or keep connections. But when it comes to what do I do and what do I not do on the ethics, I guess that's a personal choice. But that's part of the game. I think is like, yeah, huge tragedies bring huge numbers, and on a political scale, on a people talk about false flag scale, it's like if you want to accomplish something, whether it's ratings or these people know that on big levels, so that's why it's like this happened, now we can do this, and now we weren't getting any clicks, now we can. I wouldn't take it to the extent they do, but I think people do, and on a lower level like us, that there are decisions to make about like how far do I go, or what do I say.
You work hard on your YouTube channel, man.
Yeah, it's mostly Facebook actually, but I mean I put it on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I mean, hey, what program are you using to edit?
Final Cut. Final Cut.
You nasty with that, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, I work hard. I work a lot, and especially now, nothing's guaranteed. And I'm passionate about this because it's just like hindering every aspect of America. So I'm like extra annoyed. I think I'm like, I mean, not to compare myself to Michael because I'm not that good, but watching the Michael doc, how he
Yeah,
would get pissed off and that would make him work harder. I feel like I have that little thing to me, like when I get, or like they try to fact check me, then I'm like, now I got to fact check you. And I go to the computer for 7 hours and I crank another video out. So I got that.
yeah. I don't think people understand how much work goes into what you do. I don't know about other YouTubers, but how you present your information. I'm somebody who understands Final Cut Pro and
Mm.
what it takes to uh, chop up, splice these videos, put some of the images in there. And I'm looking at the videos and I'm like, yo, Anomaly working hard over there, yo.
I appreciate
He
that.
putting in hours because you popped up with the stats. They popping up on the screen as you saying it, and I'm like, yeah, he putting in work, yo. Y'all gotta respect this man. He works hard, yo. He's not like some YouTubers. They got your intro. They turn it on. They sell you a whole lot of shit that you already want to hear. You done heard a million places. They get their brownie points and then they're gone. But you be really hitting cats with the info, man. I just want to say I appreciate that, man. That's just dope, yo. It's inspiring.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And a lot of people have teams too. A lot of people got 4, 5, 6 people. I'm going to just show right here. I got the light. I do my own lighting. I do my own editing. I do my own recording. Oh, fuck. I just messed it up. All
And
right.
we done broke his whole
Hold on.
studio
I need I
setup.
need an assistant on deck. But overall, no, I've dropped that 100 times. It sucks because it's real thin and you got to
Mm.
stand it up. It's not very smart, whoever designed it. But overall, yeah, so it's a lot of work. And, I do it all in house, but that's also why they can't really do anything about it. I don't. It's not somebody else making me look good. It's myself. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you know Big Crit, but he always brags about, he's like, I make the beats, I record, I do the mixing.
Yeah,
That's how I feel. It's like, all right, it's a good thing. It's a blessing.
yeah.
But thank you. appreciate you recognizing that.
No doubt. Are you Puerto Rican, white? What are you?
I'm part Puerto Rican, part Italian, and then part Polish and part Czechoslovakian.
What? You
Yeah,
part who? Part what? Part who?
Czechoslovakian, back when Czech and Slovakia were
Yeah,
one nation. I think
yeah.
that's what my one grandma was. My one grandma was Puerto Rican, my one grandfather was Italian, and the other one was Polish. So I'm mixed, and I think even in there, there's like more branches. But I refuse to take the 21andMe like DNA, like deep state test, give them my genetics. So I'll talk to my elders and just their story sounds good to me. So.
Oh, so when you rap, that's your Puerto Rican side.
It might be. It might be. Yeah, it's probably that. It's I don't know unless it's the Polish side sneaking in with some far right rap. No, I'm just kidding.
What year you started rapping?
I used to do poetry, like rhyming poetry in third grade, and I used to do parody songs. I was kind of a clown, make funny songs, make people laugh like Weird Al. Then I started rapping in seventh grade, as early as that.
What
Then I,
year was that?
oh my goodness, I don't know, 2000 or something, like
2000. You was in seventh grade. 2000, man. Damn, I was running around getting these hoes. You
And,
was in
yeah,
seventh
started
grade. Okay.
freestyling and posting, so I've always loved rhyming, and then, but it was like Eminem, Dr. Dre, I think even Corrupt, I don't know if you remember the song, It's Over," I was like that was on a tape I used to have, and then I was just like, "Man, this is poetry on a level,"
You're
it's
Cali born and raised.
no, I'm from New Jersey, but
You from Jersey?
yeah.
Nigga, I'm from Jersey.
Okay.
What part of Jersey you from?
Central.
Okay, when'd you leave? What grade?
Oh, New Jersey? I went to West Virginia University, which is I went there for 3 years. So, and then I moved back, and then I moved back to West Virginia just to like get away. So I lived in West Virginia for 4 years, and then I flew to California like 10 years ago or something. I don't know, 8 years ago.
What year did you blow up as the rapper? Anomaly.
What's that?
What year did you blow up as Anomaly the rapper?
2008, I started posting freestyle videos like when YouTube was real early, and I got, I think, 1 million views in a year, and I had like 3 million views in 3 years, and I started having label looks. I had this corny. Well, I thought it was cool. It was kind of like a Beatles type thing. I was just getting high with the long hair, and I don't know. It was pretty big for the time. Now I do those numbers quickly, but back then there wasn't that many views, and I would say within a year I had a lot of traction online. I had ladies and stuff. I was like, okay, this is cool. I was flirting on freaking out, but it was early on, probably 18, 19 years old.
Girls love rappers.
Yes, it's easier because now people say to me, they're like, you must have so many women. But I'm like, because of my content, it's a lot smarter and wiser. I have a lot of women with kids, which is awesome. But it's like, I got 7-year-old fans, 80-year-old fans, which is, or supporters, which is beautiful. But it's like, I get less women than I used to because of the content I'm talking about. But it's okay. I think, when you're 19 and like in college, it's a lot different. So yeah, the rap seems to be the panty dropper more than like the 10-minute breakdown on Elon Musk. But we gotta go both
Yo,
ways.
I don't know what that's. I think that's the bad boy complex. Girls like bad boys or whatever, or girls like rock stars. Because I know mad girls used to hit on me when I was a rapper. As soon as I got conscious, it's like, where the hoes go? Now you got
John
fucking
Travolta meme, where he's in the street. You're just like, where?
yeah. Now you got malls hitting on you. You know about the mall acronym?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're the king of the malls. I see on. You got an army.
I love them. I love them. Shout out to the chat. Sketch therapy. Appreciate you. He said, in this era, common sense is uncommon and valuable. Hermano Boricua, he said his Puerto Rican brother. Uh, Anomaly is no grifter. He will piss off either side, just like the Hotep says the last. Oh yeah. Dang, y'all over here retracting messages in the chat. What do you say that you had to retract your message? Yeesh. All right, so let's get into the juice, man. Let's get into the juice. Alex Jones, did you see the Alex Jones clip?
The one talking about him eating his neighbors.
Yeah.
It's people are like, I want to think that was out of context, but I don't know what context that possibly could have been in for it to like really get there. But yeah, so I was crying last night when I saw that.
Yeah. Oh, that was last night. He said that.
I saw it on Twitter last night. I don't know when he said it, but I just watched it at like 12 o'clock midnight probably, and I've shared it. I said when you get kicked off social media and you stop caring.
Oh wow, I didn't see it. Like I was probably asleep with my old ass. Damn, yeah, I saw the clip today though. That's so where do you stand? What's your judgment of it all?
Of what he said or him in general?
Both.
Of that, I mean, it's nice to be friends with your, you think of your neighbor like neighborly love, you share it. So it's a weird, imagine you're Alex Jones's neighbor and he just said, I'm ready to eat my neighbors. That's a strange vibe. As a neighborly person, I wouldn't want to hear my neighbor say that. I'd be like, bro, I know, I get what you're saying with the survival stuff, but it was a little over the top. But he's funny like that. So overall, I understand that if I had to, it's all in. But he seemed pretty fixated. Like he was like, you know what? It's settled. I'm gonna eat my neighbors. Like, I hope he lives alone on a ranch, bro, because he's about to get calls.
You see his ex-wife on Twitter?
No, his ex-wife has a Twitter.
Apparently, I don't know if this is a troll account, a real account. It looks legit because there's a lot of people following and whatnot. But not that makes it legit, but I think his ex-wife has like an account where she like trolls him all day long, like Alex Jones' ex-wife, and she just talks shit about him all day. But she said something about his comments today. Oh my God, this is my ex, and I feel for my children. Blah blah blah. I totally understand what he's saying. You know, it's so easy to take out of context, though.
Yeah, I'd have to. You got to see the context of that though, because it was a good minute of like being like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna do it. It's like I would do it, or I would do it. I mean, it's really not overall. It's not that bad. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I mean, it's just more content for people to have an opinion on until
You
he
ever been,
actually does it. But I don't
you
think
ever
he really thinks that. I think
you ever been on Infowars?
yeah, I've talked to Owen though. Never Alex. I talked to Owen a few times.
You ever did? Alice loves me, man. That's my dude. I'm gonna tell him to have you on, man. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I'm
If
down.
you're down, I don't want to mess up your griff game. That they might blackball you if you talk to Alex.
I already talked to Owen, so I mean, I don't really care at this point. I've been
Oh,
on
Sawyer?
Yeah, yeah. I've been on some edgy channels. I go on what I want to go on, so I make the decision. At this point, I mean, I've done enough. So they've tried to play little sneak moves, but it's crazy. It's like they can have on whoever they want, but then they try to say you can't do this. But I'd go on.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's like being black.
I can't attest to that. I'm only part Puerto Rican, so I got a small victim card that comes out like once every 10 years. I used to joke with my friends because some of my best friends growing up were 100% Puerto Rican, so I'd always just troll. I didn't really mean it, but like when it was, I was like, yeah, for sure. And then like when it wasn't, when it was like you need to be white, I was like, yo, what are you guys talking about? Like I'd always just joke around, like I play both sides. They'd be like, yo, what the fuck? You were just talking about Big Pun 10 minutes ago. I said, no, that was 10 minutes ago. The right now it's getting weird over here. And they thought I was serious, but I was just trolling.
Yo, that's that mixed advantage, man.
Yeah, I'm very mixed up. I want to take a DNA test to see like really what I am because I feel like it's split even further, but it's all good.
You got a little bit of black in you. You got a little bit of Hotep in you. They ain't gonna tell you that at 23 and me. They can't tell you how much Hotep you got in you, but you got a lot of Hotep in you.
You got a HOTEP 19 test I could take,
We
antibody
do.
test?
Well, we have a laboratory that is in the works. It's in the plans for our future. We'll have a laboratory. You'll be able to get your DNA test with the Hoteps safe and sound. You know what I mean? And we're not gonna give you your DNA test based upon modern geographical borders. We're gonna give them to you based upon ancient geographical borders, so you really know who your ancestors are. So you could say, instead of saying, I come from Iran. You can say I come from Persia. You know what I mean?
I talked to my aunt, my great aunt. She's Italian, and my grandma's Puerto Rican. And I asked her about it, and she said, from a point, my Puerto Rican ancestors came from Italy, like way back in the day, and I never even heard that before. So I don't know exactly how people got to Puerto Rico back then, but they were telling me that some people came from Italy to Puerto Rico at a certain point.
Doth1126 says, shout out to the truth seekers and people who dig into real talk. Thanks for doing this chat, guys. Hashtag stay woke. Sketch therapy, what up, bro? Appreciate you again. He said, I'm 100% Puerto Rican. Have my card here, mano. Boricua. What up, homie? Hola. Um, yeah, I don't know. The Alex Jones thing is funny, man. He's a character. Um, I think he has a lot of balls to make that statement he made.
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, let me get a drink. I was telling An0maly, I made like a bootleg margarita. I basically took some Don Julio, some water, some concentrated lemon juice, some ice, and some sugar, and shook it up. This shit is banging, bro. It's like hydration but alcohol at the same time. Shit is great. Somebody said 5 minute swab. Yo, I don't know. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that up to our Hotep technicians to make those decisions. On the thing of this is what I'm trying to get glued. I asked Baked Alaska this question last night on Hotep's Been Told You. Um, on the topic of free thinking, and we're talking about the quarantine. Have you seen a split amongst uh the I hate the word right wing, but I should say right leaning crowd on Twitter? The right leaning crowd on Twitter. Have you seen a split on the opinion of open economy or shutdown?
I think there's a split. I don't know if it's 50-50, but I would say the majority of, for sure, and even this is I would say 3 weeks ago, I did a poll amongst my supporters or people who follow me, whatever you want to call them. Most people wanted to open up, like overwhelmingly. But among the thought leaders of the right wing, I would say it's closer to a 50-50 split. A lot of them are straying from the people and they're more cautious. But there's definitely some people playing certain games and, with certain ideas. But
What's
I,
those games? Please extrapolate on this game because that's what I thought I saw.
to me, it's very simple, like third grade math, and I'm not really great at math. I'm not stupid, but I'm not, math is not my strong point. Never was. The third grade math was easy from a month ago, which is the confirmed case rate if it's asymptomatic, and a lot of people have it, and there's not tests everywhere like there weren't a month ago. That number's always been lower than the regular number, which has meant the mortality rate has always been far lower than what they've said because they're basing the mortality rate based off confirmed cases. But if they got a million confirmed cases and there's really 20 million people who had it and never got tested, that doesn't matter. And the death rate is clearly wrong now. You're talking about New York's adding thousands of people. And Dr. Birx and the Illinois health lady said, if you die with COVID 19, you died from COVID 19, which is a crazy way. That's what Elon Musk has been chirping about, being like, that's a lie. I mean, the common cold would kill hundreds of thousands of people if they did that type of, you had it, you died from it. So that's obvious. Where you want to go from there is, up to you. But the amount of like pseudo intellectual, like, like type of people, or they're like, we need to stay closed. I'm like, bro, off of what? I keep saying it because I'm like, I'll debate anybody, but they keep getting ratioed on their own posts, all the people who want to stay close. So that's what I like to see. So, some people are playing games. I know they're not that. I know they're smart people. So I don't know what they're doing, but it's a little weird to me.
Yeah. So okay, so that's what I saw. I saw that the blue check right leaning cats were going along with the communist decision to keep the economy closed. I'm like, oh, you guys are commies too, huh? I mean, we've always have suspected these people of being commies. I've called them out in the past, so we knew they were commies. This quarantine thing is just exposing them. But yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on it. See if you saw the same thing I saw to make sure I'm not crazy. So you want to open, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think the data and the science, that they were worried about has been clear for at least 3 weeks now. So at the beginning stages when they didn't know a lot, I was still skeptical and I wasn't gung ho about it. But yeah, for sure, open up completely. I disagree with any sort of. They're talking about 2022 for baseball. there's no data or science that backs that. So I think it's a total communist power grab. Open up now, tomorrow. I'm even wondering what Trump's doing. He's even taking too long for me.
Well, I told people Trump don't make that call. Deep state will let him know when he get to make that call. I think there's a global syndicate. I shouldn't even say a global syndicate. There's a minority of players. That's a better way to say it. There's a minority group of players who are controlling this COVID-19 idea. Um, and we're just pieces on the board. We're not even the players. They're going to tell us what to do, when to do, how we move, 6 feet, so on and so forth. And I don't think there's much Trump can do about that, especially when you have health as the pain point. So it's real easy. It's real easy to play games when we're dealing with people's health. Because the conversation then becomes complicated. It's not simple, right? We even see a debate that's happening with the vaccines. Have you seen the vaccine debate?
Yeah, it's I've seen it for a while, and now obviously it's between like mandatory or I don't think it's pro-vax versus anti-vax. That's what they try to say to me. I say I like some juices. I don't like all juice. I'm not anti-juice. So the amount of like brainwashing that's been into that, like every vaccine is a good vaccine. Do you know the ingredients? Do you understand how the core system works? Do you know who's pulling the strings behind this? So I've seen it, yeah, but I'm on the side of skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird when you have the thought leaders, the influencers. You have the influencers of the left, right? The leftists, then the rights, and they agree. And I'm always worried when those two groups agree. When they disagree, I'm like, okay, things are normal. When they agree, it's hopeful to get them to agree, right? But when they do, I'm very suspicious, especially over this thing. And it's like everybody's just agreeing with this whole shutdown thing. It's just like the 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 conservative people have split from where the blue checks want to take them. The blue checks are saying no, let's keep things shut down, health and oh my God, COVID, hashtag stay home. And there's not much support for the people like you saw in Boston, right? Where the
Uh,
people in Massachusetts, where the people rolled up with the guns.
I saw in Michigan they did that, but was it
My bad. Thank you, Michigan.
no problem? Yeah, yeah.
What you think about that? You think that's cool for them to run up in their state capital like that?
I mean, I think if I don't know the gun laws there, but if it's legal to open carry or whatever they did, I mean, the First Amendment says the right to protest, freedom of speech, the right to assembly, and them taking that away off of all false data, false projections, everything they originally said was wrong over hospitalizations. I don't know what the holdup is. So I'm definitely happy to see people all across the country question it on any level. So yeah, I mean, I've no problem with it.
Yeah, I saw those people out there. I was so happy. I said, "Yeah, kick up white people. That's what I want to see. Get your muskets out, man." I was starting to get worried. I was like, "Man, is white people alive anymore? Are they awake?" Um, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact there's no sports on TV too.
Well, Bill Cooper used to talk about the Roman circus and how sports and all this was just kind of a distraction. So all of that's been taken away, and people's job, and people's business, and their freedom, and their right to travel. So I mean, at what point is this not going to bubble over? I just expect it. I mean, I know some people are kind of brainwashed, but 360 million people, I don't expect this to go over for very long, and I think they're just going to keep getting bigger. And the politicians need to wake up on both sides, really, because this is how would that not happen at a certain point?
It's funny because the Infowars crew was organizing a protest in Texas, and Owen Schroyer got banned for promoting that.
Yeah,
Scary times we're in right now. Anomaly.
yeah, no, it's creepy. That's why even it's not even I'm not saying stuff, but I know the games they play. So they're saying on Facebook, if you organize something, a protest, you're doing this, we're gonna do that, and it's really what it is on face value. I hope Robert Barnes and other, lawyers are on it. They're saying if you exercise your right of the First Amendment, you're under scrutiny. You could get kicked off. You could get arrested in some places for not. It's insane. And I hope, I'm not an overly litigious person, but I hope people that are suing, like Gavin Newsom and all this stuff, I hope they win. And I hope somebody in the Supreme Court and the justice system identifies this. I was hoping, I know, like you said, maybe Trump can't do it, but I was hoping for more leadership on the right. But at the end of the day, the people will speak. But yeah, I saw that they kicked off Owen for maybe live streaming his protest on Twitter. I think that's the reason they gave. But I mean, they don't really have a rhyme or reason. They'll kick anybody off when they feel like it's their time.
Sketch Therapy said Puerto Rico is the jungle fever island. We very mixed. He said, Puerto Rico is having protests with bands at the beach. They had one today in the streets. We make every protest a party. Fraud convict contracts so far. I love it. Shout out to Puerto Rico. Doth, excuse me. He said, how can we, the people, flip the script on the elite billionaires like Gates, Bezos, Soros, Rockefeller, Rothschild, etc.? How do we win? How do we win, Anomaly? How do we defeat Bezos, Gates, Soros, Rockefeller, Rothschild? That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I would say overall, first you got to enjoy your life, like every aspect of it, because at the end of the day, we're all getting older. But to really win, I think it takes enough people not playing like sports games. Obviously, like the left wing can't really do much for me at this point. When push comes to shove, they're just not really there with any valuable like protests that we're going to need in the future or like First or Second Amendment. But on the right wing, I think the people who cheerlead too much and the people who are too complacent are going to hold us back. And it's going to be the people like the people in these states that are saying enough's enough. If enough of those people, the freedom loving people in this country, don't make excuses, you could like me, you could like Trump, you could like Dan Crenshaw, Ben Shapiro, whoever you want to like them, but don't make excuses for tyranny. Don't make excuses for anti First and Second Amendment stuff. So I think if enough people stick to their common sense and their critical thinking skills, the numbers are on our side, and eventually in human history, I think people have a tendency of going too far, and hopefully getting corrected. So we'll see.
You think people could be free?
It's a weird time, honestly. This was a big
That was
bamboozle.
a no. Your body language said, man, we done lost, man.
I think so. It's the last 2 months was a little disappointing to see how quickly they just snatched everything because you knew it was coming. Because I was even like, I got to get out of the city, and like I'm already on my like Tennessee or so I was like, I need to go somewhere that's red, and then they just did it that quick, and I was like, we've been saying for the last year or two that the right wing was going to communism slowly, and then it just happened quicker than Bernie Sanders. I was like, no, they got us way faster than I thought they were going to get us. I think we'll be all right, but I'm like, man, this was a sneaky test run, and I just pray that enough people, got on it. But I think we got a shot. But overall, I'm like, man, we done did ourselves. They definitely played us on this one.
Yeah. I think the key is twofold: self sufficiency and acquisition of knowledge. You can't fool somebody that's smart. You can't fool somebody that's intelligent. You can't fool somebody that's knowledgeable. And self sufficiency. You can. I think they do a good job with trying to make sure people aren't self sufficient. Some places you can't collect rainwater, right? Like, what kind of law is that? So I think that people have to fight for every means of self sufficiency. And any policy within your neighborhood that doesn't allow for self sufficiency needs to be taken a hard look at. And that's how you minimize government, because the government likes to find ways to make sure you're not self sufficient. But the other thing is, like I always say, man, yeah, in some countries, intelligence is rewarded. In America, not so much. It's some, in some cultures it's shunned across America. So I think people got to do a better job educating themselves. If I feel if people had a real education, beyond the approved education, right? So you can learn about the human body from high school through college and so on and so forth, become a doctor and still know nothing about the human body. This is very possible that you still have no idea how certain parts of the body work, such as the immune system. You know, but I feel in this society, if everybody doesn't have an education level of a doctor, I feel that every individual needs to be educated to the doctorate level on their own time. Like people need to be that engrossed in their studies that they are a doctorate in whatever it is they study. They wouldn't be able to pull this on us because we'd say, oh, you can't tell me this is a pandemic based upon a virus because I know what a virus is. I know how a virus affects an immune system. I know how the immune system works. So you can't feed me this vaccine. But when you have a people that don't know how the human body works and they don't understand biology and they couldn't name two parts of their body or two organs in their body, we have a problem.
Absolutely. You nailed it. I always break it into two places because with political people or whoever kind of rose through the Trump, wave, you got the matrix breakers, the people who get to the bottom of stuff, and you got the surface level people. And I try to tell my audience to get away from the surface level people. You could watch them, be entertained, be interested, but they always keep you here. And like you said, if you don't understand how the body works, you're always going to be here. They're always talking about Flynn. They're always talking about Tara Reid. I think it's interesting. I'm gonna weigh in on it. I think Biden's a hypocrite and so is the media, but that's where they spend all their time and they just run you in circles. So that's why I try to tell people, if these people say they're pro free speech and aren't and always keep you up here, that's kind of the trap. Because then when push comes to shove, that's when the misdirect comes. So I think that's true. And I'm hopeful in the sense of like, Twitter is just one aspect of stuff where even most my audience is pro open and everyone's getting ratioed. All the thought leaders with the check marks are getting ratioed when they say something that's stupid. I think on the average scale, it's going to get to survival at a certain point if they try to go further. And at that point, you're talking about a lot of the world's guns. You're talking about Georgia, West Virginia, Texas. Even the streets. Like that's a real it's a real interesting vibe. I would think for billionaires, it would be a lot easier to just party and have fun and, do their thing. Because if they try to take it a further step than they did this time, we'll see Michigan. We're going to look in California. But I think, that there's a lot more people who don't go on social media who are not going to be really pumped about it. So I think this was a test. And, I guess it's still in the works of what grade I give us. But, so far, I'm not super impressed. I think we could do better for sure.
Mm, mm. It's a very funny place. You said the thought leaders keep you here. They never let you get in too deep. And the funny thing is, when you're one of those thought leaders and you're accepted by this crowd here at the surface and you get too deep, you don't get access to the media outlets up here. I see that the people who are service levels get the Fox shows. They want to keep the people dumb. They don't want people getting real deep. They'll talk about these issues, but they don't really get deep into the issues. And people who are, so I agree. Somebody gave me a profound statement the other day, and actually not the other day. It was a couple of months ago. I was visiting some people, and I was like, I mentioned one of the grifters online, one of the main grifters. I'm not gonna say no names. And I was like, yo, I really don't like this person. And they said, you know what? I understand why you don't. But you know what? You two are on the same side. And I said, how? How are we on the same side? They don't get deep into the issues. He's like, that's exactly it. You see, there's a lot of people who are on the other side of the spectrum who start with that surface level person. And then once they kind of get broken into that mindset, they start looking deeper and then they find that Hotep Jesuses and anomalies. So these people kind of help break the barrier. But what I was afraid of is exactly what you said. The people that stay there.
Mm. No, it's real. I would say even with I'm trying to really figure out how to put it, but I think it goes both ways. Some people stay, some people go, and say like Alex Jones, for instance, the people who follows the QAnon movement now, they hate Alex Jones. You know, they can't stand him. A lot of people, even that are really into the Israel stuff, they think Alex doesn't cover it enough. But a lot of those, well, let me stick with the QAnon type people because they're big on Trump. They support him, but they don't like Alex. Alex was one of the biggest Trump supporters in 2016. Even if you hate everything he says now, without Alex, there was no Donald Trump that got elected. So it's even with Bernie Sanders. I can't stand the guy, but if he didn't do what he did in 2016, do I come into politics? Does Hillary lose? You know, does she get exposed from both sides? So it's kind of a balance for me sometimes to be like, how much is that helpful and how much is it hurtful? You know, and I think it does play both ways. But that's something I think about when I make my content too: is how do I make this really open where I could get people on both sides to really listen and not scare them away, and then hit them with some real stuff. But I think that's true. Everybody plays a part. I just can't take the sneakery of like the selling out the First Amendment and stuff. That just really rubs me the wrong way. They get people in, but then they got the whole movement thinking it's okay to not believe in anything they say. I
Yeah,
hear you though. It's like a very interesting paradox of pros and cons.
yeah, yeah. How yeah? You mentioned the Biden Tara Reid thing, and you said people are talking about that. What do you think they should be talking about instead of that? Since that's kind of like, I guess you're saying that's low hanging fruit, right?
I think it has a place. I think it's an obvious double standard and hypocrisy. But to me, I like the surface level Republicans. They're always on something. Where like I'll be on it, but then I try to really use it to segue into something that's I think going to help people more. Where it's always 2 years of Russia, gate, 2 years of this, the impeachment, this situation. Tara Reid's going to be for 4 months. I just wish they did a little bit more deep diving stuff. Where like I just did a report yesterday. Newsweek actually broke it. Crazy enough, Newsweek sucks, but they did a good report. I mean, Fauci was funding the coronavirus bat studies in Wuhan, and he's manipulating viruses. You got Harvard, Johns Hopkins, they're all telling him don't do it. It's going to cause a pandemic. That's a bombshell story. But what are the Republicans going to say? They're going to talk about China and the Democrats. They never really get to that next layer. So it's not that I don't think they
Well,
should talk about it. They're going to talk about it every day for 4 months and say the same shit. But maybe I say the same shit. Maybe they look at me and say, An0maly just keep saying the same crap. I don't know.
yeah. So Fauci, right? We're talking about Dr. Fauci, right? The guy who is supposed to be the I don't know health administrator for this coronavirus fiasco, right?
Yeah,
Um,
top health expert or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. So last year somebody hit up another black conservative, so one black conservative to another, and he said, "Hey, man, you need to cut out that criticizing Trump stuff. We could really get some money. All you got to do is just not criticize Trump. No, all you got to do is not criticize Trump." And I knew that was a cardinal rule. Don't criticize Trump. Which is unfair to the people. But it is what it is. That's how grifting works. So Fauci falls under that, right? So it's like you know, criticizing Fauci would be like criticizing Trump, and so these people have to keep their jobs and their positions and their connections and their network connections. And that's why they're not, the left or the right won't break that Fauci story. But like you said, what Fauci did, what?
Yeah, Newsweek broke it. He was funding like $7 million to a lab in Wuhan where they were studying the manipulation of viruses in animals, some of them being coronaviruses in bats, and multiple experts all said don't do it because what they were doing was taking viruses that are not that transmittable and making them transmittable. I mean, it's like creating a Frankenstein. And that broke in Newsweek. So like I've heard it for a month, but I had no proof of it. Newsweek broke the story. That's something that the liberals love. So I'm like, give them a taste of their own newspaper, and almost no one's covering it. I think a lot of Trump supporters are on to Fauci and they realize he's fake. But let's say Diamond and Silk real quick. They're some of the biggest cheerleaders of Trump. They love Trump and they've made a living off loving Trump. And they've done a great job. They're entertaining. They're funny. They interviewed Dr. Shiva and started getting a little too close to the big pharma calling out that stuff. I think they dropped him. I think Fox dropped him because they were doing what they should have done and sticking to their heart and soul, saying, "Listen, I like Trump, but like this big pharma stuff's getting crazy. The shutdown's crazy." And they didn't even name Trump. I'm out here naming Trump, not blaming him, but I'm like, hey, what about what we're doing over here? They didn't even say his name, and that's how quickly you get dropped if you get too close to, maybe the sponsors or the top advertisers.
Yeah, Dominant Silk got Cam, man. You know, when you are Dominant Silk and you grift your way to the top. And I love Dominant Silk, don't get me wrong. And I don't say grift because it's in a malicious manner. I don't think it's a malicious manner. I don't think they're dishonest, but like you said, they made a career off being Trump fans, right? Um, but when your career is built off of towing the line, you got to keep on doing that. I think they didn't do a good job of judging the barometer before they took a side on this whole thing. Because if I were them, I probably wouldn't even interview Dr. Shiva. I would have been talking about Tara Reid and Joe Biden, right?
Maybe they just felt like, they felt strongly about it. And I respect them more for that because I think they probably knew that it was maybe too far. But at a certain point, once everything shuts down, it's like the grift is over. There is no CPAC. You're not going to the White House because nobody's allowed to go anywhere. So, the grift's over. No one's getting invited to the Turning Point event because they don't exist anymore. Because we're not allowed outside the house. So, it's like when the grift ends, you got basketball players sitting, they're wondering, when can I play again? I can't even do what I love. So I think that's honorable of them to do that. I don't know if that's why they did it, but thank God. More people should do that. Yeah, but for sure that probably messed their pockets up for a little bit.
So, Doctor, I'm going to call him Dr. Faust for machine learning keyword deception. Dr. Faust is creating Frankenstein viruses in Wu Tang, China. Not only that, viruses that aren't transmittable, he's making them transmittable. Then they pull Dr. Faust out. They put him up on the Hunger Games podium to tell us about the virus and what we should do. These communists are wicked, bro.
Yeah. Once I read that story, because I'd heard it, but I couldn't really confirm it. Everyone's talking their shit about everything. Once Newsweek broke it and they had all the proof, and I'm like, wow, because I knew it was messed up. We knew, but then that's the next level. The guy who is how I say it's like Johnny pooping his pants. He's got poop seeping out his pants, and then they ask Johnny, "Did you poop your pants?" And he gets to say, it's an official statement. I didn't poop my pants. Like that's not. Of course he's gonna say that, because there's a. It really is next level. I was like, oh damn, they got they done got us really good, and no one's saying it, and made that guy drive our policy into the ground. He's the one who had, and even the charts, it goes this deep. I don't know if you know, but the IHME charts that they were, when Trump looked like he saw a ghost, remember economy's opening up. And then that chart came, millions of people, hundreds of thousands. He looks at that chart. Bill Gates gave them over $200 million. That's a Bill and Melinda Gates funded institution. They got, their claws in everything. So we got played so hard. And, it hurts, but it is kind of funny too. On a sad note,
Yeah, man. I knew Fauci was fraud the moment he mentioned. I detected he was like one of those pro-vaccine guys. He's like, oh yeah, we really have to develop a vaccine. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this dude. I already see what's coming. I didn't need the proof about Bill Gates and all of that. I saw the fix coming. So when the Bill Gates stuff connections came and all that stuff, I said, yeah, I knew it. And then Bill Gates got involved. The funny thing about this is, the Hotep community for years, and the Pan African movement for years, Black Panther movement for years, have been talking about Bill Gates vaccine testing in Africa on Black people, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody cared when he was testing on us. In fact, with the COVID thing, French doctors were talking about testing vaccines for the COVID virus on Africans. This is a very common thing that they do. They just devalue black life on the African continent. Nobody cared, but now y'all got to deal with the monster that you let grow in Africa. The monster was born in Africa, and now it's here, and it's in your backyard, and he's trying to eat you. And now Alex Jones wants to eat his neighbor. You
Yeah.
know,
No, it's like the Chappelle. It was in the last Chappelle show about the drug epidemic. You talk about how they really brought drugs into the black community earlier, and people didn't care about it. And now you have opioids are destroying, the white community in America, and that's kind of the overflow of what happens when you don't care. And when it comes to you guys and even like black activists who actually make sense, they have to prop up the black activists who don't make sense because they got to have the diversion. They got to get all of the intersectionals and whatever they call themselves to believe the opposite of reality. So there's been people kin to that in all areas of like big medicine type activists, but they never crack. They never crack through the mainstream. So I hear you. It's the result of everyone just ignoring something that's growing. And I haven't even I knew big pharma was coming, but man, this just bang, and that's real. It was the slow run, then they did Event 21, and then they do it here, and now they brought what they probably been working on to the rest of the world.
yep. I'm looking for my book. I thought I had it around here somewhere. Is this it? Yep, that's it right here. I just want to help people out. As soon as this thing hit, I went to my bookshelf. That's why it's sitting on my desk. And there's a chapter in here. I want to find. Are you familiar with this book? Behold the Pale Horse. Anomaly.
Yeah, that's Bill Cooper, right?
Yes, William Cooper. And chapter 6, page 121. Very interesting because I have 121 tattooed on me. So I'm going to go to page 121. And on page 121, basically what this is a chapter on FEMA response, Federal Emergency Management Agency, HR 4079. I think this is something that people need to pay attention to. But right here, he lists all the executive orders and everything they authorize. You know, but 11,000 on it is just crazy. Like 10995 provides for the takeover of communications of media. I think we've seen that already. Executive Order 10997 provides for the takeover of all electric, power, petroleum, gas, fuels, and minerals. Takeover of resources and farms. Takeover of all modes of transportation. Um, Provides for the mobilization of all civilians into work brigades under the government supervision. Government take over all health, education, and welfare functions. Postmaster, airports, and aircraft. So, that's why I said, when this COVID thing first hit, you know, I predicted the quarantine before a lot of people because I had this in my possession. Because as soon as it hit, they said, "Oh, we have this virus, this pandemic." I just went straight to this book and I said, "Which chapter are they going to pull on us next?" And
Hmm.
I looked straight at the FEMA. I said, "That's right, the FEMA." But he begins this chapter talking about the Rex 84 exercise. If you guys don't know about the Rex 84 exercise, this is a readiness exercise, and that's basically what we're in the midst of now is a Rex 84 type event. But I just wanted to show people that because a lot of people think we have rights in America, and when you feed into some of these things, in fact, you'll hear Pence said it. He said he announced that FEMA was in charge of this thing now. So a lot of the things that we're getting, you think Trump can do it. FEMA actually has all control over our government at the current moment.
I heard that he handed it over them or signed it over in my last song Bioweapon, the third verse. I said bioweapon viruses filled in my environment, communism coming. I ain't talking about the firemen. Y'all thought we were crazy listening to Bill Cooper. Now the state is shutting down and you thinking about your future. So I had a Bill Cooper line in there. And it's funny to the new crowd. I love anybody who's deep diving, getting into dark stuff and trying to expose that and bring it to light. It's all love to me. But it's funny when they say, I did it. I got this guy that told me this 2 years ago. I'm like, yo, Bill Cooper predicted this stuff 40 years ago. Robert Anton Wilson wrote a book. They made a Illuminati card game off it. They got a card in there that has all this stuff. The pandemic. They got Pence, someone who looks exactly like Pence. They got Trump. It's all in there. So it's like, it's all love. It's not a competition. But these people that think they're like, I just got this 2 year. I'm like, yo, Bill Cooper literally has got the blueprint from a book probably in the 80s or 70s. I don't even know when that was written. So it's
Mhm.
crazy. But yeah, and those executive orders, are those ones in the book something that he was saying could happen, or they already did those?
Well, he's saying they were authorized, but
Okay,
it already happened. This was under Nixon. I think FEMA came in under Nixon.
wow.
Um, but he's basically saying, because FEMA exists, and anytime they, what I was waiting on, we said it on Hotep's Been Told You. I forget what episode it was, but after I read the chapter, I said, listen, when the government declares a state of emergency, that authorizes FEMA, and that's what Bill Cooper was basically saying.
Mm.
If they declare a state of emergency, FEMA then takes over
For how long does it say? 6 months, or
as long as there's a state of emergency.
oh, they got to close that then tomorrow. It's game over. All right, we had it. We had the run. You guys got your data. Let's close it up.
Yeah, there were, as long as it's a state of emergency, they are in charge, and that's basically what he's saying is this stuff has already been legislated based upon the executive orders put forth by, I believe, Richard Nixon's administration. But that's what we're dealing with here. There's also another chapter I want to show people: the secret government. You know what I mean? Great chapter that I think people should read. It says the origin, identity, and purpose of MJ12. Um, but there's a vast amount of information I think people need to read in this book, and take in just to understand, our government and where we are. But when I say things like, oh, that's not a Trump call, it's because I know there's higher powers. You
Hmm.
know,
And they've been extra activated. I've heard that from a few people, but I haven't really looked into it or gone back to it. But yeah, I think that's what they were saying is that FEMA is in control right now via that executive order. Or
yeah, 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 absolutely, yeah. FEMA's definitely in control because of the Francis Lancer. He says, "Yo, the grift's over. Peace, peace." Brody McFarland, thank you, Brody. He says, yes, white people are alive. Some are awake, and a few are Hotep. Mm-hmm. It's the only way to win. Saludos, An0maly. And everybody in the chat. HC 2020, Hotep Con 2020. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. And An0maly, Ray C says, An0maly, the Matrix Breaker led me here. Sub, real talk, Hotep. Thank you. Appreciate you, homie. And Goyim Defensive League said, Hotep, you sold out. Um, what's your point? Listen, yes. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what y'all want me to say. Actually, I do know what y'all want me to say, but I'm not going to say it anymore. And, if you guys don't want to support me anymore, I'm perfectly fine with that. But we're moving on to greener pastures. There's a better way to win this war, and the people like Goyim Defensive League who are afraid. There's a lot of people out here normally. I know you've experienced this before, but they're anonymous, right? Like you don't know who they are. And they talk big shit because they're anonymous. And when you're not anonymous, they want you to talk the same big shit they talk, And it's just like, nah, bro, why don't you put that dog Avi down, put your real face up, put your face out here, risk being doxxed, risk being swatted, and say your piece now. But they get mad when you won't say what they want to say. Well, here's what I have to say. When your team has the balls to show your face on the internet, then we can have that conversation. Until then, I don't want to talk to any anonymous people.
yeah, definitely. And some people too, it's like there are people that are sneaky, but I say what I want, what I'm passionate about, and you can't really make me want to do something I don't want to do. You can inspire me, you can show me something real that I want, but the people who are so forceful about it, they want you to be them, and I'm like, I don't want to be you. I always say make a YouTube channel, like you said, and it's not being mean or sarcastic. I'm like, seriously, go ahead, because like I do what I'm passionate about. Some people talk about the same thing every single day. I don't want to do that. I don't see the value in it, but I don't stop them. But when they come on to you and start trying to tell you what to say, that's a little weird to me. But there's different people that do that. But it's all love. I move on and I get back to Final Cut. I got 6 hours of it, so I gotta get back to the grind, not the grip, the grind.
Not the grift, the grind. Fox News calls you up. They said, Anomaly, we love your YouTube channel. Uh, we want to hire you. What do you say?
Uh, I I would I would entertain the talk. I would say under what pretense? First I have how much am I getting paid? What am I signing over? What part of my life? What does the contract say? I'm gonna get my microscope out, get 5 lawyers. But I probably know at this point. I don't think I really need to. But if the only way I would do it is if I felt comfortable about where it was and I could say whatever I wanted. I'm like, I'm not gonna not say something. I don't want to have to feel the pressure of don't talk about that. If it's possible, I think Tucker does a pretty good job. So I would entertain it, but overall, I'm not that interested. I think I'm on a good trajectory. I like being in Hawaii or something. I like that vibe. If I got a green screen maybe or something, a beach. I'm thinking like you. I got my drink, a coconut. But it's debatable, but definitely not gonna censor myself on cable news.
Yo, I got to bring this up. Somebody in the chat mentioned this. Martin McNamara said, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is a chapter that sets the blueprint for the agenda. Yeah, this is another piece of literature that I've consumed. I consumed this in a digital format. Awesome, awesome body of work. Again, people, 45 pages. I mean, you guys can't knock out 45 pages. You don't deserve to live. 45-page book. Sit down, fucking read, you fucking bitches. Great, great information in that book, but that's something I consume. Thank you for mentioning that, Martin. Chad said, Anomaly, FC Pro or Premiere Pro. I grew up on Adobe. He uses Final Cut, yo.
Final Cut, yeah. I've never used Adobe. I use Photoshop, but I don't know how to use the other thing. I'm all Final Cut. That's all I know.
Yeah, yeah, y'all video editing guys. They talking video editing jargon. How you feel about the Trump bucks? You agree with it?
I mean, he definitely had to get some money out to some people, but no, I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist. So I wish he would open up the country. And every day he waits, every week he waits, there's going to be more bailouts. He's bailing out the meat industry. It's like, bro, open the country up. But I can't say I agree with it. But when they shut the country down for a few weeks, he's got to get some money to some people. But they did mess up in the sense of some people are getting paid more money and they don't want to go back to work. I heard that where like they're making more than their salary at like the restaurant, so they're actually pressuring the restaurant not to get the loan to save the restaurant because they don't. So it's sloppy, man. It's communism. This is where the socialism sucks people at. They got to put their shirts down now because it's we got Trump bucks out here.
Yeah, I went to the grocery store today and I wanted to go get some 3 red hot chili peppers, uh 3 bell peppers. What's the shopping list Shorty sent me? Or whatever. Man, wasn't nothing in the store, man. There's nothing there. Supply chain is all screwed up, bro. I couldn't
Yeah,
get nothing. I got my plantain though. I was happy. Plantain was in stock. I don't know how where that's coming from, but plantain was in stock.
yeah.
Um,
They're messing that up, and he's bailing it out, and it's going to be messed up every day he waits, every week he waits. I mean, maybe by design. Maybe that's the play.
I feel like they anticipated that people would get rowdy being under quarantine, so they sent the Trump bucks as a way to appease the crowd, calm the crowd. The Trump bucks were a tranquilizer of sorts.
Yeah, that's what socialism is. It's like here, take this, and we got you. That's the whole thing we were supposed to not do. With this presidency, but yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, wasn't that a Yang thing? Yang
Yeah, it's
bucks
kind of
with
weird.
UBI.
Nobody wants to say this because, like, they'll try to say it's racist or something. But you got this guy talking about UBI. You know what I'm saying? He's all talking about Russia, talking all these talking points. Doesn't question China at all. That's fine. Talking about these bucks, and then all of a sudden this happens 2 months later. He's on CNN. The big outsider guy is right on CNN. I'm like, I already knew what time it was. I never believed that guy, but overall, Yeah, it's very strange timing. You know, someone's got to get their sleuth microscope out. Look at that.
Yeah,
Not his fault, but yeah, sneaky.
it was like he introduced the idea of UBI. Actually, I shouldn't say introduced. He introduced it to public popular thought. Um, and some people bit, some people didn't. A lot of people didn't. I didn't bite. I hate UBI. And here we are. We're actually experiencing it. The government didn't they say they're thinking about sending? I know they want to send another round, and they're thinking about sending more money this time, right?
Yeah, no, they definitely. That is suspect, though. Don't you think he brings it to popular thought? He acts like an outsider. He gets all the tech and crypto people on his side, and then he drops out. He endorses Joe Biden, joins CNN. 3 months later, Trump bucks. But yeah, they're biting on that big time.
Yeah, I think it's real funny. I think it was lazy. That's what I think. I think the execution of the Trump books was lazy. A flat rate, $1,200 doesn't get you the same amount in New York as it does in Alabama. Um, Especially when we're talking about living quarters. $1,200 going to get you a refrigerator to live inside of in New York. $1,200 get you a house in Georgia. Big house too. Nice hot shit. Be throwing rapper parties in there. So there was not even a calculation based upon cost of living in your jurisdiction. I thought that was just really lazy. That like these people aren't even like doing any type of calculation or any attempt to try to make any of this make sense. It was just like, hey, let's just give everybody $1,200, and that's just is what it is. It's just like, really, like, oh wow, it's pretty lazy. It's really lazy. That's what I thought of it all. Did you think it was lazy?
It's lazy, and certain aspects of this whole thing, like I have very low trust in these people anyway, but it's like I had like a shred of like somewhat, affection maybe for like the fact that they keep it all going, and they underperformed in every way. Like it's like point 0.5 out of 10, they went to 0. Mnuchin was on TV saying they asked him if they think that $1,200 is enough. He said, I think it's enough for 10 weeks. On what planet is that enough for 10 weeks? In what city? Like you said, in Georgia, maybe, but in New York City, in LA, in San Francisco, that's not. It's super lazy, but I mean, this is the people that just shut our government down and destroyed people's jobs. They're not only lazy, they're just backwards. And it's like, this is why I'm more right wing. That's why I'm more libertarian. Like, don't ever do this again. Leave me alone. Stop seizing things and throwing out random numbers. It's not what I want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, Aztec Mecca quality content. Appreciate you, my brother. Kathy Atkinson. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Stay with it in the chat. What up, Hotep? With it. Appreciate you coming through. Shout out to Hotep Dutch. The Hoteps is in the building. We deep tonight. We deep tonight. Somebody says, how often does Hotep Jesus stream? This is great. Hotep Jesus streams on YouTube Wednesday through Friday. Wednesday night, I'm with Wendy O. We talk relationships, heterosexual relationships, to be specific. Thursday night is Hotep's Been Told You, the number one podcast in the world with Uncle Hotep and Hotep Jesus. And Friday nights, I interview people and pick their brains and have fun. Have fun, interesting, uncomfortable conversations. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the subscribe button. I need y'all to do that right now. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button before y'all leave. Um, uh, Crypto. Where are you at on crypto? So it's a two-part question to this, right? So there's Bitcoin, and then there's Federal Reserve coin. Where do you stand on all of this?
Uh, I would say on crypto, I understand. I've heard the technology behind it and why it's efficient. It's not my strong point, but I've always looked at it in as an investment. I know they say you shouldn't, but I always thought, I'm gonna throw some in here, follow it. I get the concept of it, see if it works. So I've been in it for a couple years, and I'm in Ethereum now. I had a friend tell me that was the play. The Fed coin is hilarious. I saw the Washington Post did an article. They said the Federal Reserve has a new Fed coin. I'm like, bro, you guys are so sloppy. That's not smooth at all. Washington Post talking about the Fed coin. That's embarrassing. Like that's for the lowest of the low to be. oh my God, Fed coin, I can't wait. That's the whole reason people didn't do it. So, I think part of it, the technology is better and is maybe decentralized, some say, but I also think there's, a possible way to manipulate that in a bad way. But I'm in it. I'm just not like the biggest fan. I'm just like, hopefully this goes up. I can make a few bucks.
I like cryptocurrency as a means of exchange for governments. I do not like cryptocurrency as a means of exchange for individuals. I call cryptocurrency common coins. Um, and I say that because it's actually a public ledger. Some ledgers are private, of course, but Bitcoin is a public ledger. Anytime you make a transaction, we can see where all the money is going, right? Where all the money is going. I don't really like that. I kind of like my privacy. I kind of like being able to do what I want with my money. I like my cash. Um, Fedcoin. Um, I always say, is it going to be a private or public ledger, right? So blockchain is basically a ledger. It tells you all the transactions, where this fraction of a coin came from and where it went. And so I'm like, cool. Is this ledger going to be public or private? Because if it's public, I'm all in. If it's not, then hell no. Because then that means that only the Federal Reserve has access to all the transactions that we make, which is just unfair monopoly on data. Now, with the government, wouldn't it be great if we knew where and how much the Federal Reserve transacted?
Mm.
We don't know. There's footage on YouTube with people in Congress asking them, say, "Hey, where'd you send this money to?" We're not at the liberty to tell you. We can't tell you that. You can't tell the government where you loaned its own money. You know what I mean? But if we put them on the blockchain and we can see it, went to this bank in England, say, "Oh, our government just loaned out," but they won't do that. That's my problem with the whole crypto thing.
They flex so hard when they did the audit, right? And the Fed audit or whatever, and they didn't actually report. They're running late. And I saw the quote and they were like, "Yo, you're lucky we even did this thing." Like that was their response basically, where they're like, yeah, they're like, "You didn't even give us an answer yet." They're like, "You're lucky we even did this." They flexed.
It was
Super.
a fake audit to begin with because normally when you audit, you get audited by an outside agency. They manage their own audit.
Yeah, and they still didn't put it in with
Right.
all that being done. So I didn't expect much from it. That's a good point with the blockchain though. I think aren't there private coins though, like Monero and
Yeah,
such?
yeah, yeah. There's private blockchains. Yeah. But
I
Bitcoin's
think
public.
that is the worrisome.
You think what?
That is the worrisome part about it is that although your bank account's totally tracked and everything, cash is still kind of somewhat loose, and then making it all digital does seem to be a way to control. And the decentralization thing of it has always sketched me out too, because it's like you don't even really know who created it. They're still kind of anonymous, so it's like it could be that could be like a trap too. But I don't know enough about it to really weigh in.
UFOs and aliens. Recently, the government declassified some information about the UFOs. You remember that? You saw that story?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You like aliens? Where you at on all this alien stuff?
I used to when I was younger, but I'm more in like the space skeptic group right now. So I think they released that. It already got released 3 4 years ago or whatever in the New York Times, and it got released 10 years ago. So it's old footage, and clearly it could have been a weapon. It could have been something that we don't understand, some technology. It could have been some outworldly thing. I'm not sure, but I'm skeptical on space because when I look into stuff, to me it seems like a little bit of a distraction. They got people looking at Pluto, meteors. How many people look up to space, don't know what they're talking about, never seen it, can never go, but they don't think about the ocean or their own country. So I'm not big on aliens. I used to be when I was younger, but to me it seems a little bit like a trap.
One of my theories is the aliens live in the ocean.
That's where I'm at because 95% of the ocean is unexplored. You ever seen a picture of a squid? That's as close to alien. Bah! It just changes colors and turns shapes and freaking goes 10,000 miles an hour. Where else would you hide? Everybody's looking up at the sky. 95% of the ocean is unexplored. More than half the world is unexplored. That's absolutely what I'm saying. All the shit's going on in the ocean.
Have you gone down the Antarctica rabbit hole?
I thought you were gonna say, "Have you gone to Antarctica?" I was like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm tapped in, so that's
What you know about Antarctica?
I think one of two things. One, I think that's where a lot of rich and powerful people seem to go. You know, you could there's a World War II like connections there as well, but also now John Kerry flew there on election night. They're like he wanted to check out the penguin. Yeah, I'm sure he did. You know, that's what I'm doing on election night too. I'm chilling with marine biologists, but something's going on there, and also I'm starting to be I question everything as far as why don't they fly over there? What's going on? Something's going on, like the ocean. But
Yeah.
that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Alien beams down right now. Knocks on your door. You open the door, it's an alien standing there. What you gonna do? He ain't said nothing yet. You just looking at him. He looking at you. You looking at him. What you gonna say? You gonna be scared, or you gonna be more like, oh, cool. Like let's like have a conversation.
I probably close the door. Honestly, not to be rude. It's like if someone, no disrespect, then he's gonna be like, "That's racist." I'm like, "Damn, even aliens are left wing. That's it. They're calling me racist." No, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably close the door, but then I'd be like, "What's up? What's up?" Like from inside.
Yeah, I think that's why people say, "Well, how come the aliens don't show themselves?" How come the alien? I think it's because we can't handle it. I think psychologically, our brains might break. Like we'd freak out. Like if I open my door as an alien saying, I'd freak out. I'd be like, "Ah, what the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? Like I'd freak the fuck out because people generally. I forget what it's called in psychology, but when we see something that we've never seen before, that you can actually go into like mental shock.
You got to be a strong-willed person to be able to accept that. But I think it's gonna get weird, like with the Neuralink and the AI stuff. Like I've always, I enjoy my life. I don't get too far in the future, and I'm not like paranoid at all. Really, I don't really get paranoid, but it's like some crazy shit's gonna happen. So it's just it was only a matter of time. It just kind of slapped fast. So whether it's AI, whether it's like aliens, whether it's you got this huge. I'm always thinking too. What if we always assume we're the dominant species on the planet? You know what I'm saying? Aliens aside, we just think that. Does an ant know about us? Probably not till we step on it. So I've always thought not even just about aliens, but if half the ocean's unexplored, what if we're being ruled by some giant thing in the ocean, or like that's where they keep some shit like Antarctica. You don't go there because that's where they are. So I've always been skeptical, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna get weird. I think so.
Shout out to Sketch Therapy. He said, I'd like you to check out James Corbett. He thinks this is a controlled collapse of the economy in Corona World Order and how Bill Gates monopolized global health. How much do I have to pay you to watch it and add it to your knowledge base? Send that link over, homie. We're going to check that out. Just Blaze. What up, homie? Just Blaze, I need you to get me in contact with Young Farrell if you can. Yo, please, please, and thank you. It says National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence that was set up in 2018 to promote AI tech with the intent to use crisis to drive use of Black Mirror, Chinese style, supermassive surveillance on U.S. soil. Oh, yeah. That sounds legit. Aztec Mega, he says, inform the uninformed. Libra dollar synonymous with Fedcoin. Yeah, he's talking about Libra coin. Libra coin now is a Facebook coin. Um, Suspected, absolutely suspected. I believe. Facebook's the feds, so I think it was more about. I think the Libra project was more about a test to see how people would react more than anything, because they had all the top corporations signed on. Amex was signed on. A lot of big corporations signed onto that project. And in fact, it was almost like a hedge fund for a coin. The way that Verizon is either Verizon, one of these telecommunication companies, Verizon or AT&T, was a partner in this, if not both. But a lot of large corporations were investing in the Libra coin. So I think that was a test for them to see how people react, and they're going to come back. They throw things out there to get public sentiment, see what they say, and then they put you in quarantine out of nowhere. Yeah, so that's just how it goes down. Um, Howard Stern offended MAGA the other day. Did you saw that?
I saw what people said, but I didn't. What was the exact quote? I didn't really tap into that.
That's exactly it, yo. You just answered my question perfectly right there. Like, who gives a fuck what Howard Stern says, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm over the like offended by celebrities not liking Trump supporters. I didn't even look. I didn't even click on it. I saw it. I said he said he hopes you die or something. I'm like, he's not really been relevant for a minute. He went to satellite radio, and you know that was a mistake for his clout. So
Yeah, yeah, right. So, right, when I saw the story pop up and all the people crying about it, I'm like, this is what we doing. Y'all just like y'all aren't they act sometimes I feel like, the conservative ink crowd acts like liberals, man, with the snowflake stuff.
they're total liberals. They're total. I mean, they don't even believe in the values they claim to believe in, and they play off the left. Like for me, I'm a thinker where it's like, what arena are we in? What arena are we thinking in? Do I have to talk in this arena? If I do, is there a way I can make it my own or bring people where I want to bring them? But they always play in the left's world. The left makes the script and they fight against them, but they're there. So it's like it's always a. That's why I said with the Tara Reid thing, I think it's real. I think it's hypocrisy. But at this point, if you don't realize Democrats don't believe in anything they say they believe in, the fuck have you been doing the past 4 years? And if you don't have a creative way to wake people up, no one you're doing. They do the same five things, the same five games, and I'm like, that's the shit with the Howard Stern, bro. Fuck it. I don't. I'm gonna watch old Howard Stern with Robin, and where
Mhm.
he's getting weird. I'll watch that shit on E or something when I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How old are you?
I'm 30.
You 30?
Yeah.
You got kids?
No,
You got a girlfriend?
not currently.
Yo, anomaly single with kids. That's the cheat code out here. You know
No,
that, right?
no kids. Single with no kids.
Single with no kids. That's a cheat code, bro.
It's crazy because, like I said, I had way more chicks just nonstop hitting me up when I rapped, and now things are 100 times as big as that. But chicks don't come to me as much, and I'm not going out looking because I'm really in my zone. Where it's like if something happens, but at this point I'm 30, I'm wiser, I'm not wilding out. It's got to be a big winner. I'm not. I've been single for so long. I'm not just gonna be out, getting lazy, on my game. So I'm like, I kind of want someone to come to me. I know that might not be like the masculine thing to do, but not in like a pussy way. Just in like, I'm busy. Like I'm here editing this video. I don't got time to play games. You play games. I'm so over it. I'm just like, listen, no drama. I don't have drama. Don't bring drama. You could bring some love, bring some good vibes, bring some things. I'm with it. But once it gets weird, I'm out. So I'm here, but I'm not. I'm in no rush.
Would you do a TV relationship? Like when I say TV relationship, I mean like a fake relationship that's for clout. Like let's say it was like one of these hot MAGA ethos, right? And they hit you up like, hey, you want to be my boyfriend for like pretend, for clout? Would you do it?
No, no, definitely not. If I really liked one and I thought they were hot and interesting and like I really was into it, I'd maybe do it, but I'm always thinking I create enough problems of my own. I don't need some chick that's like way more reckless and stupid than me creating 20 times more problems for me. Like, it's never going to be that good in bed for that to be worth it. So I kind of want like a library chick that's just chilling, or someone outside of it. But I saw Stacey Dash is single. I saw you tweet that out and I had to support you because you've been on that for a minute. But low key, when the time's right, maybe I'll sneak in there and try to get a date before you. I'm just saying.
Damn, you about to cut me?
I wasn't supposed to tell you because I was like, yeah, Hotep's, he's on that. But secretly, I'm like texting. I'm like, yo, does anybody got Stacy's number? No, I'm just playing. I haven't moved that hard yet, but it's in the back of my mind.
We doing celebrity death match for that one.
That's one that's not a TV relationship because that's real love right there. And at that point, it's like if the drama's worth the prize, then I'll do it. But a lot of the what you would call or what they would call ethos, a lot of them, the ratio of drama versus like prize is a little out of whack. It's got to be a special thought for me
uh,
to really want to make a move.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Anomaly's got a good head on his shoulder, y'all. He's a good dude, man. He keeps his nose clean. He makes the right decisions. He got so how do we all right, so, we got to close out here. How do we defeat the communists, man? It comes back to that question that dude asked earlier. How do we how do we win, yo?
I hear you. I think one thing that was inspiring over the last year was in what was it, France and Germany. they went too far on the farmers, and you had every tractor going to Paris. He had hundreds of tractors just driving into Paris. To me, that was the flex of the century, just being like, we make the food, like no more. And in here, the weird thing is, a Macron, he's so unpopular. The progressive Bernie type people don't like him. The Trump supporters don't like him. Over there, no one likes him. So in a weird way, Trump is kind of holding back the pot. And I'm not saying it's Trump's fault, but like Trump has the right wing and the libertarians who, to be honest, are going to be the most useful people when time push comes to shove. He's got them complacent because he's in some ways protecting them, now kind of just leaving us out to dry a little bit. So I think that's going to be the defining moment, is when things get to that point, like they did in Germany and France, and people really push back. We've only seen the outskirts of it, but how many people are awake? At what point is, the truckers, the farmers, the people who really keep this stuff alive? When are they going to, really fight back? And also, libertarians and conservatives to be like, listen, like the people of Michigan, like, you're going too far. I'm not closing for this long. So to me, that's the win. How many people do we have? And that's all I think we could do, is one by one or 10 by 10, try to get people to that point. You don't have to go crazy. You don't got to be paranoid, but don't be that person following the sneaky conservative when push comes to shove, telling you that based on the data that I don't have, you should stay in your house till October. Like, oh, he's so smart. He's got Periscope. It's like, those type of people, I'm starting to call them out. I'm like, low IQ, debate me. I'm starting to be a little mean because I'm tired of it. So I think that's the win, is getting enough people in a position when push comes to shove to, fight it. I think they did that in New Jersey too with the medical stuff. They tried to do the mandatory vaccines. You got your Ma's, your middle-aged white women. You got a few, your Robert Kennedy, Dr. Shiva, whoever, and they all said no and they stopped. So if we get enough of that, I think that's the W.
Yeah. Oh man. But you said it earlier too, man. You were like, we were talking about communists, and then all of a sudden they just hit us like, yeah, we got control of this shit and just verified it with the lockdown, man.
Well, we knew the Republicans, like, they didn't want to hear it, but I'm like, yo, they're leading you to communism slowly. They're snowflaking you. They're just adapting to the left slowly. I thought it was going to take them 10, 15 years. I didn't realize they were. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even have a month to think about this shit. So they came so fast. I was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, last year I do things in phases and campaigns and levels, right? So last year very much for me was about kicking up dust and making people very uncomfortable. This year I'm somewhere else. But as I concluded the 2012 2019, it was very much about like making sure people knew where I stood as far as the right wing conservative types were concerned, that they were leading us towards communism. So that when you go look back in the time capsule, you'll see Hotep Jesus did tell you, the communists are controlling the right. And then, it's just crazy, man. It just overnight, it really like overnight, they showed their power. The blue checks cocked both left and right. And it kind of put me into how you coping with quarantine. Me, I'm over here, studying, coding, doing my push-ups. How are you dealing with quarantine?
I'm okay because I've been just cranking videos out, trying to get sunlight when I can, and work out and stuff. So I've been a little lazy on the workouts, but keeping busy. I'm not gonna complain. Just use it to my advantage and make the most of it. But I'm getting kind of tired of it. I think they're starting to open parks and stuff. I'm ready to get past the phase one or whatever it is.
Yo, what killed me was I went to the park, man, then the hoops was gone. The
It's
basketball hoops.
That's straight. And I know you were early on saying communism. People are like, you're exaggerating. I'm like, dude, they're taking down tennis nets. Like, it's like the no fun zone, no beaches, taking the basket. I can't shoot hoops by myself. I'm watching the Michael Jordan documentary. I'm getting jacked up. I'm starting to think I can make a run in the NBA. I'm kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. Where I'm like, man, everything's down. No, that is the communist sneaky. I can't stand it. They took down my boy's playing tennis by the beach. They took down the tennis nets, and he's just playing with his freaking friend who lives with him. It's crazy.
Yeah,
That's it's.
Tennis is literally designed for social distancing.
Yes, 20 feet apart, literally, with this person that you live with, and they said no. That's when I knew. Like I started seeing that shit. I'm like, this is not. I already knew, but it's like this clearly. Hello, people. This is not about 6 feet. I said yesterday or 2 days ago. What's the science behind you could be in Costco with 100 people, but you can't be in a barber shop or a hair salon with one person with gloves and a mask on? But you can be back to back with 1,000 people trying to get 20 things of planters or whatever they got at Costco. So there is no science behind it. They're just communists.
Yeah, I went to the post office today to send out some. I got some Hotep keychains here, and I sent out a hat. And I sent out a copy of the book I wrote, Unbreakable Rules of Masculinity, to some friends and family. And I got to the post office, man, and there was signs up everywhere. It was like, "Hey, you got to stand here and 6 feet back." And then so I went up to the counter, and while I was at the counter, we were within 6 feet. And she was like, "Oh, you got to step back." I was like, "All right." So I stepped back, and then uh, there's like this glass window they have installed now, like this glass in front of her. She's masked up, she got the gloves on, and then when it was time for me to pay, you walk up to the little POS machine to stick your card in, and at that point we're within 6 feet. So I'm like, why didn't you bring the POS system all the way out here in 6 feet so we never had to get that close to you? And I'm like, there's just not a lot of, like you said, it's not a lot of science being done here. There's a lot of stupidity. So here's the thing. Um, they're asking a lot of unqualified people to make qualified decisions. When you tell somebody, hey, um, uh, COVID-19 proof your business. How do we do that? I don't know. Figure it out. But that's been a task for a lot of corporations is COVID-19 your business. You've seen a million emails go out. Hey guys, we've changed our protocol because of COVID-19. It's just like, you don't even have a brick and mortar place you're emailing about COVID-19. What the fuck are you talking about? So then I went to the grocery store and, I apologize to God for this. I, I was getting my items and I was checking out, and there was two Indian dudes that were right behind me. And there's a line. There's like tape on the ground that says, that everybody's got to stand in these lines. Now I don't really care about the COVID virus and everything like that, but he was like right up on my cart. So I went to go bag my groceries. When I saw him at first, I felt cramped. I'm not gonna lie, I felt cramped.
Yeah.
And then I went and bagged my groceries, and I came back to put my stuff in the thing. He was still standing right there. And I blacked out for half a second. I was like, yo, you don't see the line on the ground, yo? And his man jumped back real fast, and he was kind of slow. He wanted to be tough guy, and he was real slow to take a step back, and he didn't fully step back. I respect him for being a man about it, because I shouldn't have came at him like that. I apologize for that. But this life is going to be different after quarantine. How do you feel about how is things going to be different about life after quarantine?
I think that's why it's important that people have to get the data and the facts and the real science out there because I don't see the data or the stats. I think tomorrow it would be fine to drop all this crap we're doing. Honestly, they told us it was 30 times, 20 times, 10 times worse than the flu. You do the data with the antibody test with the cookbooks, you're talking about something that's comparable. Whether it's a little more or a little less deadly. So they never would have done this. The hospitals weren't overwhelmed. That's the excuse they gave us. So I don't really know, but I'm not wearing a mask for very much longer. So it's like I go to the Thai spot, I feel like I'm in freaking the beaches of Normandy. They're all looking at me. I'm just like, this is so stupid. We're hiding from something that every aspect of every step of the way they were wrong about when it came, how long it's going to go. They're not trying to stop the spread, they're trying to slow it. They know they can't stop it. They said they didn't want to overwhelm hospitals, but they overwhelmed the whole American thing, and it's all just con artists running the show. So I can't imagine what they're going to do, but I think I'm going to start getting more pissed off that every day that goes by, every month. I'm supposed to go on a cruise later this year. I'm trying to go on the cruise. If you're scared, you know what they said in rap music, if you're a scared motherfucker, go to church. If you're a scared motherfucker, sit home and stay home till 2028. You can quarantine for the rest of your life. I think no one will care. So I'm trying to do what I want to do, and I'm definitely, unfortunately, not going to be following these procedures for much longer because I just don't see. I don't believe in this. We have to do this for years, and like phase one, stop lying. Phase two, open up America. I'm gonna just keep going until hopefully enough people realize what the deception is.
You saw that video with that doctor who was talking about the numbers were blown up about COVID,
Absolutely, he
and then
did a good job.
and it got deleted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I think the numbers. Candace Owens has been on that heavy.
I'm proud of her. Her and Diamond is Silk. When push came to shove, she was early and maybe earlier than anyone and louder than anyone. And what she said aged very well. So I think it's good that some people are not on it. I wish. I mean, it's all good, but I wish they kind of, they got the Trump people. They see it, but they got to be like, "Yo, what are you guys doing?" But they do it in their own way. It's all love. But yeah, she's been calling it out for months now.
Yeah, she's been great with that. I was very surprised. Um, because she's got 2 million followers or whatever. So like yeah, that's like the message we need going out. Surprised that that sentiment isn't more popular among them, right? But I feel like she gets away with a lot more than I could. I feel like if I typed exactly what she typed in the internet, I'd get banned.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how they determine who gets what. I try to be somewhat smooth, but I guess it depends who you are or how you say it. It's not always what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah, yeah. I made a joke about COVID-19. I got suspended for like 11 hours. You know what I mean? So I'm just
What did you
like,
say?
I said, black people can't get COVID.
Uh,
So like they took that literally, and I'm like, yo, it was a joke, like, and it was like I was responding to somebody, like somebody said something, and I'm like, black people can't get COVID. You know what I mean? Like joking, and so they made me delete the tweet and they suspended me for a few hours. You
wow.
know, but I don't know. I feel like yeah, I think she has the pull, which is great. She has connections to Jack, so if her account does get pulled, she'll be able to get back. Um, but yeah, shouts to her. I appreciate her for putting that out there, man. What do you think life is like after AI? Are you pro AI? Where do you stand with AI?
I'm indifferent. I think it's inevitable. It's already people don't realize because they think of like iRobot or something, but it's already like in everything. It's in Facebook, in YouTube, in Google. It's working harder than the liberals there. They don't really probably do that much. It's mostly AI running that show. So if it gets to that level of what they're talking about with a human interaction and or a human and computer merging even further than we've merged, I can't say I'm pro it. I mean, I can't say I'm against it. I mean, yeah, it's probably not what I would want, but if it becomes that, I guess I'm just gonna play it by ear like everyone else. But it's like if it's inevitable, we'll see. But it's like I'm not signing up for it. I'm not trying to get a microchip or anything, but I think there's gonna come a point where it's gonna get weird, and I'll just have to play it by ear.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm involved with Wazo AI, and we do some great things with artificial intelligence. I'm fully. I believe when you see a trend coming, instead of being a victim of it, you need to be a victor of it. So I'm hopping on it. You know, um, there are some potential problems in the future for the plebs as far as AI is concerned. But I feel like this social distancing is kind of like warming us up to that, right? Like warming us up to not having that close human interaction. Social media helped a lot with that, where you can have many acquaintances at one time because you're texting 10 people at the same time. Whereas back in the day when there's no texting, you couldn't do that. You got to actually go pick up the phone or go see somebody.
Mm.
um, you know. But I think the technology is helping to destroy human to human communication. I think that's the big worry I have is human to human communication above all the job problems. Just socially how we interact with each other. And I think this COVID-19 thing helps because it's like now after COVID-19, we're like, oh wait, don't come too close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think those are two things that they did, and this one is something people aren't really talking about, which you just mentioned. But being home, what's it doing? And you're talking about like my numbers on the phone are crazy. Like I'm always filming, I'm doing a lot of work, but I'm also texting and wasting time on Twitter like everyone else and other social media. But like I'm already living in a virtual world. My life I'm talking to you on a computer right now. I streamed for 2 hours yesterday. I'm gonna talk to people on the phone. my life is already virtual reality. You just don't realize it. But now you're talking about you're forcing people into that. I'm playing more video games with my friend because I can't do anything. They're forcing us further into virtual reality by being home, further away from each other, normalizing it. And then you see the plebs, as you call them, how easy it is to get them to the culture. Now what's every rapper doing? I'm not trying to talk myself up, but I think Bioweapon's the hottest quarantine song on the market because it's not I'm quarantined, I'm sitting with my mask on. Like that's every but they got every rapper doing it, so they've just made the culture adapt communism in a week. And so you got that, the culture saying this is our new life, make jokes about it, make vines about it, make Instagram accounts about it and rap songs about it. And then they got you forcing you further into virtual reality, which we are already a part of. And I think that's the alarming part of it.
What was your red pill moment?
I guess it depends really what, because I would say before I was even conservative or liberal, I didn't even know before 2016, I didn't know anything about taxes. I didn't know anything about economy. I was not a financial kid, but I listened to rappers like Jedi Mind Tricks, Vinny Paz and stuff. They're talking about wars and R.A. the Rugged Man. He had that verse in Uncommon Valor where he's talking about his father in Vietnam. So I was kin to that stuff where I'm like, all right, there's some corruption going on. And then Alex Jones and Joe Rogan, actually, Alex Jones had this he was talking about the Rothschilds and bin Laden. So I used to sample Alex Jones in 2008, 2009 in my rap songs. When I used to have meetings with labels, they told me not to talk about politics, like talk about women and drugs. I'm sampling Alex Jones. They're like, this kid's a nut. So those were the early stuff. And Rogan had this speech in 2008 where he was talking about the smoke coming out of buildings, being like, yo, are we a virus? Of some sorts, because I'm flying over this and there's like what we're building is not necessarily good. Those were the early red pills. And, I thought Bernie might be anti-establishment because I didn't understand economy. I didn't understand anything. I just thought he was outside the system. I knew Hillary was a sneak. But then the real conservative thing was probably turning 26, 27, learning about healthcare, learning about economics and taxes. And I never liked taxes or anti-Second Amendment crap. I just didn't know the difference between Republicans and Democrats. So I got a little swiped up by the left wing, but I was never like full on blue boy. I was kind of early on, like in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting. I think Alex Jones contributes a lot to people's red pill. I know he contributed to my red pill a lot, especially when you see him with the footage and he's outside Bilderberg in there, pulling up to the meetings. Um, so shout out to Alex Jones for that. Was there a particular issue that kind of hits home with you? I know for me, um, at one point it was like Occupy Wall Street. Like I was at Occupy Wall Street because I know about the Wall Street corruption. What's the big issue with you? Is it child hunger, abortion? Is there a big issue? You kind of talk about it all.
I would say the first thing I cared about, I remember I wrote my senior speech. I wrote it on black and Hispanic, like jail stuff and how it was like disproportional in the drug. Like I was into the drug war stuff and how it was affecting what they would call minorities. I don't even like to use that word because I feel like it's a trap word, but that was kind of like my liberalish sense of like the government's messed up. They planted the drugs, I feel like, and that's messed up. But then it was really like the 9/11 bin Laden stuff. I think that really, I like everyone just believed the narrative. I got songs from 2009 saying, that whole like I was kin to that whole story didn't make sense. So I think that was my first big moment of like, they're lying about this massive event that just sent us into war. And the guy who they said did it is a billionaire who used to work with US politicians. Like, dude, everybody before internet, they thought bin Laden was this stupid, you know, brown dude that's sitting in a cave somewhere, like, oh, he's fucking goats or something. Like, that's what the average American would make jokes about. I'm like, bro, he's a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? He's like the Bill Gates equivalent of fucking Saudi Arabia, and he works with like the Bushes and stuff. And no one knew that. So that was, to me, I was like, this is crazy. I was always watching conspiracy videos and shit, like Freemasons, Illuminati. I was on that shit tough in
Yeah,
2008.
yeah. I could tell it's all in your rap still. You still got those little remnants, the conspiracy. I love it, man. That's that open mind. That's that free thinking shit, man. Thank you for coming through, man. I appreciate you. You a superstar. You know what I mean? I'm glad that, I'm famous enough to get somebody as famous as you on my channel. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's all good, and I appreciate even back then when it wasn't popular. As far as clout and connections, standing up for you, at least at identifying how messed up it was. That wasn't necessarily good for my career, but real recognized real, and I knew you had something special and unique and higher levels. So I did that then, and even now, same thing. Like you were saying, the commies are coming from the right, and one of very few people doing it. So it's all love. I'm glad the clout's growing. You got I know you got the Twitter marketing stuff. You got the book out. I'll throw some plugs in there. I got to check them out. But it's all love, and keep doing your thing, and I'll be back whenever.
Yeah, I appreciate you for defending me in the midst of the scuffle, man. That shows a lot of character, brother. I say that, a lot of character.
Yeah, I have no off switch, so it's like I was just like, man, out of everybody, you were the only. Like I knew a few people, but I was like, bro, if you're about the free thinking stuff, you kick them out because of an article by the Daily Beast. I was like, I don't know. I just saw you could see it's like how they'll treat others, and that's to me is like you said, lack of character. So there's no option there.
Yeah. We got Puerto Rican and white Jesus, Hotep Jesus. I hope
Yeah,
y'all enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you, An0maly, for coming through. Make sure y'all follow him. I put his YouTube link in the description box. And y'all have a blessed night, man. Peace out.